gonna put it on, gonna prepare our paper. So if we have watercolor paper, that's good. If you don't have, you can use special board so that the paper can take in water and the paint, of course. So I'll open my watercolor paper. For now, we're using Canson watercolor paper 200 GSM. You can find this at SM department store, the ones with the school supplies, and also you can get it from National Bookstore. So shout out to our friends from SM Bacolod. I got this from them long time ago. I hope that they still have it when we get back to normal times. So if you have your watercolor paper, there are two sides. So this there is the rough side and the smooth side. So the right side of the paper to use for watercolor is the rougher part. So make sure that you have that. So I'm going to, so that we will not be overwhelmed, we will just make sure that we use half of this 9 by 12. This is 9 inches by 12 inches. We'll cut that in half. And take out your masking tape. We're gonna tape this thing onto our board. Masking tape. Make sure that everyone can see that. I'm gonna put this aside. Make sure you have your clean rags or towels with you. The tape. Before, they used to stretch their paper, but most of the paper now is already stretched out. So this could really help so that it will not warp while we are doing our painting. Make sure that you have the rough side. I don't think that you can see it from the FB Live, but it's better that you'll know it because it's the rougher part. What I want you to do now, since you already taped it here, I want you to do boxes on this paper. We're gonna do the techniques first so that we know what to do. For example, we want to do like night sky, so we will know what technique to use to get that effect, right? So wow, we have more people coming, watching. Hi everyone. So make sure that you have this 4 boxes. We're going to learn some of the techniques, the basic techniques. So here again, for the people who just logged in, you have to have your 2 cups or 2 jars of water. Just fill it almost all the way up, but not full, 3/4 of the way. Make sure that you have your pencil, your eraser. If you have an old toothbrush that you can use, please clean it, and we're gonna use it later. Also, your cotton buds or your Q-tips, make sure that you have those. And also alcohol, just a few drops. Okay, so not too much. Masking tape. Tape your paper onto the board. Make sure that you have 4 boxes. Okay? Make sure you use the rough side. You have a mixing plate. If you have an old plate there lying around, preferably we need to have the white plate so that you will see how you will mix the colors. Hi Peter, hi Alta. So we also have artist friends and friends from the States, from Jakarta, from Alaska, from Silay, of course from Bacolod. Thank you for the kids who woke up really early to do this with us. So this is for everyone. Okay, so we're gonna do it nice and slow. So if you have your watercolor with you, if you don't have watercolors in pans, if you have it in tubes, then make sure that you only put a little bit, because it goes a long way. So I just poured in Prussian blue. I'll try to put here different colors. So this is purple, my favorite color. So again, just put a little bit, not too much, okay? Little kids, not too much because it goes a long way. And I also don't wash my plates after I use it, because in watercolor, just a little drop of water onto the paint, it reactivates the colors. So here are the ones that I've already poured into. So there. So why do we have 2 jars of water? So 1 cup or 1 jar should remain clean, and the other one is the one that you wash your brushes in. So put that medicine dropper away. So you wash your brush a little bit. Make sure that you have your clean rag with you. Then you just tap your brush to make it clean. So if you are all ready, we will start the basic techniques. Now we will start with the 4 basic techniques, and then we will do probably a small project. Okay, so hi, Erica Velasco, thank you for joining us. Erica helps us to provide us with materials in Bacolod. So her shop is Okidoki Crafts. So we always buy things from this store. Okidoki Crafts is at the new 888 Premier Mall. Hi RLS. Hi Robin from Boracay. Those are our friends. So guys, we'll just wait for a few more people. I was just told by my friends that they're gonna join with their kids. So I hope that again you have your materials with you. So make sure that your brushes are clean. You have some tissue paper. Please have some tissue paper with you. Make sure your hands are clean, so that when you touch your watercolor and wet and wet. So in watercolor, we are going to work or play with the water. That's why our group is called Tampisaw. It means to frolic with water. So because in watercolor, you basically play with water. So I washed my brush with clean water, and then I load it with water. loaded means that it has water in it. And then I will paint my first box here with clean water. Okay, so make sure that you put this first box with water. So our first technique is wet on wet. And then get a little bit of water loaded onto your brush. And then go into your paint. So I took in some, I loaded it with purple. And then while this paper is wet with your clean water, you paint it with your, okay, let me do that again on another paper so that you will see how it goes. All right, I'll do it again. So first box, we will paint with clean water. Go to your clean water bottle. Make sure that you clean your brush. So you see that it is it glistens. And then take a little bit of your watercolor and then you, okay, all right, so that's about it. And then you have to wash your brush every time you use it, and then tap it onto your clean rag. Okay, so that's our first is wet on wet. So this is very, very basic. Okay, so next technique is, so that's wet on wet. That is wet on wet. Okay, so don't overdo it. Just one go. Hi Tita Chita, I miss you. She's my friend and classmate in Mosaic class. Thank you for joining us. So here you have the wet on wet technique. The second box, you paint it again with clean water. So you have it, clean water. And get some paint. So it's wet on that first part, okay? Okay. Wash it. Wash your brush clean. And then get another color. So this one is called drop color on wet because we're gonna drop. We're gonna drop another color. So as you can see, you can move your board around. You can see that the watercolor is mixing with the first color. So you can use any kind of or any color that you want. Alright, so I'm gonna do it again on another paper. So this is why wet on wet is very, very basic, because you're gonna do it in other techniques also. So the first one was wet on wet. So wet the paper first with clean water and then paint it with a color. For this one, the drop color and wet, the second technique, so I'm gonna paint my paper again with clean water. Okay, and then you put color, first color, paint it. Okay, after you use the first color, you wash your brush well. How to clean your brush? Clean it in the dirty jug, and then tap it onto your rag, and then again dip it into your clean water jug, and then it's clean. And then we will get another color. So we're gonna drop color here. You can get another color. Make sure that it doesn't get muddy, okay? Oh, that's too much. If you pick up the paint and then it's too much water, then what you can do is you can tap it onto your rag. You just tap it, clean it, so that the water is not too much, okay? So it will not get runny. So there you go. So we have two techniques now. I think this looks a lot better. See how beautiful watercolor is. I like watercolor because you can bring it anywhere with you. I travel with my materials and it just dries up really fast, especially that it's already summer, so it really dries very fast. If you're in an air-conditioned room, it doesn't dry that fast, but make sure that you also don't have this puddles. I'll get this puddle so that it will dry a little bit faster. Okay, so we are on our third box. So let me write this down. The second box is drop color on wet. So all of our titles, or the basic technique title, it's really easy because it also tells you what technique or how to do the technique. Okay, so our next technique is graded color wash. Graded color wash is what you can see on swatches. So you can see that in watercolor, one color, you don't have to add white or black to make it darker or lighter, just like what you do in oil or in acrylic. So in watercolor, you can use one color, just one color, to be able to do the dark and the light tonal values. That's how we say it. So I'm gonna wet this first. So I'm not gonna do the wet on wet technique here. I'm gonna just take some color. So I'm taking Prussian blue, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the dark part first. So I'm gonna paint it the top, and then I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna wash my brush clean. So, and then I'm gonna load some water onto my brush, and then at the lower part, since you can see the little puddle there, I'm going to do it like this, because watercolor will just be using gravity. The pigments on the watercolor will be like that. So you can see that there's a dark part and the lighter part. I'll do it again with another color so that you can see the difference. So I'll try to do the sepia. So sepia is like brown. So I'm gonna do the upper part. Wash my brush again. And then load it with water. You can see that it goes down. So we have the dark part and the mid part and the light part. Okay, so just water. See, it's lighter. So this time what we learned here is that when you put more water and less paint, it's lighter. If you don't put much water and there are more paint pigments, it's darker. Okay, so this is graded color wash. I can't see my pen, so graded color wash, wet on wet, graded color wash. So this is what we do. This is what I do when I make my swatches. I swatch my watercolor so that I'll know. If I look at the swatch, I'll see how it looks. Like for example, the Hansa yellow deep, I'll know what's the difference between its darker tone and its lighter tone. Okay. So we have 3 boxes already painted. So we have first, we have the wet and wet, we have the drop color and wet, and we have the graded color wash. I'm gonna do it again, the third technique, just to make everybody practice it. You can practice on the other side of the paper. So here's one of my favorite colors. This is Shinhan Peacock Green. So I took some color, and then I stop, I wash it in my dirty cup, and then clean it in my clean cup. I load it with clean water, and then at the bottom part of the swatch, I'm going to just paint it with clean water. You can use any kind of watercolor. This that I'm using is Sakura Matte watercolors. I don't know if I have the... Oh, here is the box. So guys, I'm not being paid by anyone to do this. I'm just trying to share what I have learned, and I love what I'm doing, so I'm sharing it with everyone, so that you have things to do during this lockdown. So this is Sakura Matte watercolors. I buy it from Manila, fully booked. You can order them online, but I use other watercolors. So you can use things from Lopez East, from people in Bacolod. Lopez East is a good variety of painting materials, especially watercolors. So also China Mart in Lacson, they also have good brushes, which is just like 30 pesos. You already have 3 good brushes of different kinds. Then for the last one, you need to clean your brush with clean water. Okay, so the third one is dry brush. Dry brush is that you make your brush a little bit, like, not really dry but damp, so you can feel it that there's little water, and then you get some of your paint, and then brush it onto your paper. That's dry brush. Make sure that you have this white leave out spaces. That's what we call in watercolor leave outs, or negative space, because in watercolor we don't use white. Some purists don't really use white at all. Me, I use white, sometimes gouache or a little white, just a little bit of accent or detail. So here in dry brush, you can see that you can use this in probably in a nice sunset. So the effect is like looking at sand at the seashore on a sunset. I'm gonna do that with another color. So what color am I gonna use? Okay, I'm gonna use, this is, so this is M-Gram Red. I forgot the name, but it's like really red. It's Spiral Scarlet ata. Okay, so I'm gonna, so you'll see that the first one is too blocked out, so it means that your brush is too wet. But you can see at the third part that you can see the white leave out already. If you have a flat brush, it really depends on your angling. So for this, what you can do is, actually you can also do dry brush with the flat brush. So see, and or you can also do this like this. You also get good results with flat brush. So we have 4 techniques already. Please tag me in all the things that you have. Wet on wet, drop color and wet, graded color, wash and dry brush. We're going to try if we can make painting, okay? I think what we're going to do now is we're going to prepare again our paper. So kids, you have to ask someone to help you cut your paper. So make sure that you use the rough side again. What we're going to do now is we're going to, you can follow my sketch, you can sketch it, but when you sketch, make sure that you have light strokes, because so that it will be easier for you to cover it up with paint. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to paint in just one color, so you have to decide on what color. I suggest that you do it in a color that, like for example, darker colors like blue, dark blue, probably red, brown or sepia, black. You can use that also. Just one color. We will paint in one color. Okay? So I'm going to do one. I think I'm going to put that here on top so you won't forget. So put that beside you so that you will not forget the techniques. So I'm gonna sketch like probably a meadow. And a tree. Okay, so I sketch a meadow like the horizon, and then there's a tree. We will paint, I will paint in Prussian blue in just one color, this color. As we've said earlier, more water, maybe you can also write it down as your notes. More water and less paint, it makes it lighter. So more water, less paint, lighter. And then more paint, less water, or no water at all, it's dark. Okay. So with that note, I'm going to start painting my tree. So our challenge now with our first painting is to be able to use almost all the techniques. So you're going to use the techniques that we've learned. First, in watercolor, we are building up our colors. So from dark, from light tones to darker. So I'm going to start with our background. So I'm going to paint it with clean water. So clean water first. Clean water. So just all the way to the half of the paper. Okay. Why I have this dropper is that I can drop here on my plate 3 blobs of paint, almost the same amount, and then so I can make it this on the left. I will not put water on the second blob. I will put 2 drops to make a mid dark, And this one is the lightest, so I'm gonna put like 6 drops. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drops. And on this becomes the lightest of all. You can add more water. And then I'm going to add more water. See? Okay. That's it. So you have a sky. Okay. Okay. So let it dry. Let it dry. So you have the dark paint. I put no water on this blob, and then the second one I put 2 drops, and this a lot of waters to make it more make it lighter. So this is your sky. We're gonna wait for it to dry a little bit. This is not a watercolor paper, but the usual paper that we used for business cards. If you don't have watercolor paper, you can also use this. So I use wet on wet. Put a little bit of your lighter, wash it, and then use some more water. You can paint it with water to make it lighter. Okay? The difference with the watercolor paper and the special paper is that the watercolor paper absorbs it better, so it can take a beating. And this one, it doesn't absorb it well, so the pigments are just floating at the top of the paper. But it's good for now. Don't worry. At least you know now how to do things. Okay? You'll know that it's still wet because your paper is glistening. So there's like a shine to it. So while we're waiting for it to dry, I think what I'm going to do is if you have another brush, or if you don't have, then you have to clean it. Clean your rug. Clean it on your rug. Make sure that it it's dry almost. So what we can do is I'm gonna do the dry brush. So we first did the wet on wet. This time I'm going to do the dry brush technique. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to brush this across our meadow. Hope you're seeing this. That's your dry brush. Okay? Some more. You don't have to follow what I'm painting, but you can have your own. As long as we're doing all this, the ones that we're doing this for the techniques. So actually, I already used 3 techniques. I've used the wet on wet technique, and then I have already the graded color wash. From darker to lighter. Okay, and also I use the dry brush technique. Okay, so we already used the 3 techniques. Of course, I cannot use the drop color and wet because you need to have another color. Since we're painting with just one color, it's going to be that for now. Okay, I'm gonna use another. Why I use another brush? Because this brush, I really love this. This is called the Rigger brush. Okay. So I'm gonna use the middle blob of paint, and I'm gonna. Hi, Doc BJ. Hi, Miss Betsy. So we're painting. Doc BJ, intrabala. Doc BJ is also an artist. He is a doctor by profession, but he also paints, and he does this beautiful earrings and accessories. You can follow him on Instagram, BJ Chavez MD. Is that right? Okay. So this is also dry brush technique. So we're making this. But guys, you can also use that's why I like using this the flat brush, because the flat brush has it's really good in loading water, and also you have the tip which is pointed, so you can use it for details like this. Di bala? So, sorry, I was concentrating on painting. I forgot to say something. So, I'm just doing a little bit of hi, Miss Isang. I hope you're okay there. Thanks for joining us. Okay, here. So we already have a painting. So you can also, I keep dropping things. So with your dry brush, you can also use this to make I'm gonna get another brush. This is called a fan brush. So too much. See, you can use this. Actually, guys, I also have a friend in Instagram. I forgot her Instagram handle. That she uses twigs and leaves and branches as brushes. So if you don't have a brush, it doesn't matter. You can use twigs. I have a twig here. I can use this as a brush. And I also teach like the kids in Danhugan Island. I joined the summer camp for Danhugan Island last year with Dave Albao and Miss Kyla Ledesma Treble. We taught them how to use natural pigments as paint. So here, this is a bamboo. So this is a bamboo twig. We sharpened the end of it. So we're using it for a lot of reasons. It can be your brush. Gonna clean that out because I might forget. Every time that you use something, make sure that you clean it, because even if you have a really inexpensive brush, I have like brush that is like 10 pesos or 15 pesos from National Bookstore. I still have it for almost 4 years now. because I clean it well and I dry them out every time that I use it. So make sure that for the kids, make sure that you take care of your art materials well, because it doesn't matter if it's cheap or or expensive. If it's expensive and then you don't take care of it, it will still be ruined. Especially the brushes needs to be taken care of. And you can still use it for a long time. So drop me a line if you like this. I'm gonna give it to you, okay? I'm just gonna... Please tag me in your works, okay? So that we'll show them that we have an output for today. So this is our monochrome painting. So you can see we have the wet on wet and the graded color wash, and then we have the dry brush technique, so you can do different details on your painting. Okay, so again, we already did this 4 techniques. So we have the wet on wet, we have the drop color on wet, we have the graded color wash, and the dry brush technique. And again, in our painting, we already did the monochrome painting. It was just probably for 10 minutes or so. So we're able to make our first painting. So with one color, in watercolor, you can make a painting. So one color, one brush, you will be able to make your painting. So this is graded color wash. So it's gradient from dark to light. This is wet on wet. And this is dry brush technique. I think we're done. Thank you guys for joining. Um, I hope that you learned something from our workshop, and I hope that you can also join us on Thursday, same time, 10 a.m. Message me if you have questions. Follow me on Instagram. It's tey.sev, tey.sev. And ask me anything if you have questions about our lesson, so that I can send you notes or whatever. Okay? So thank you, and hope you can also invite other people to join us. See you on Thursday, 10 a.m. Bye!